One Piece fans? This is Chris Bolts, and I'm coming in with an article on a particular issue with the Sanji, at least according to this Screen Rant author here, Joshua Fox. Now, what is the issue that people have with Sanji? We'll go ahead and dive into this article and see exactly what's going on here. But before I do, make sure you do like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. Now, the title of this piece is called One Piece is Finally Addressing the Anime's Big Issue with Sanji, but honestly, it may be too late. Now, first of all, it's never too late. The series is not over. I don't know what issue that is had with Sanji. Me personally, I've never had a problem with Sanji. I never had a problem with any of the characters as portrayed in this anime. But apparently, according to this author, the author again, Joshua Fox, it says that there's that people have a problem with the way the anime handles Sanji. He doesn't get as much attention as Zoro or Luffy or anything like that. Well, he is the third in command. He is the third strongest on the team. So you don't really want to give too much attention to that. But at the same time, I'm trying to think here. Didn't we just have a really big arc with that involved Zoro, not Zoro, but Sanji, back when he was on Whole Cake Island and he was proposed to be married to one of Big Mom's daughters, and he didn't want to do that, and he was treated as a redheaded stepchild because he didn't have as much powers as his older brothers and his sisters, and he was kicked to the curb, treated differently, and all that. So and then on top of that, some of his fights have been some of the most iconic. We saw how he fought in the last episode against one of the main commanders for Kaido, that big brontosaurus dude and everything like that. So and then on top of that, if we go back to when they were on Punk Hazard and he fought that turncoat who was actually working for Don Flamingo, who could turn his entire body into metal. He shined right there. And so he's had, me personally, I think Sanji has had a lot of really good, outstanding fights. And when he also fought Kaku, well, the second time he fought Kaku, that was when they were on the Egghead Island, not when they first fought over in, when they first met up with them against CP0 all the way back before they crossed over into the New World. So Sanji's had some really good arcs and everything like that. So I don't know where this idea that he's getting the short end of the stick, according to the author right here. But I think the biggest issue that he has is the way that Sanji interacts with Bonnie. Now, if you don't know that in episode 1128, it was revealed that Bonnie is actually a 12-year-old child. She is not this grown woman that you see eating cake right here. And you see how Sanji has the hearts in his eyes because he sees this beautiful woman. Now, me personally, I'm only anime. I haven't read in the manga or anything like that. So my thinking was, when he first sees Bonnie, he absolutely thinks she's a beautiful woman. But then when Vegapunk turns around and says that let's see what's right here when Vegapunk finally revealed that Bonnie was a child. I guess apparently in the manga Sanji originally didn't say anything, but in the anime he reacted with surprise, didn't know that Bonnie was a child, and then when you saw in episode 1028, he was treating Bonnie a little more differently, more like a big brother type issue as opposed to someone that's love struck. So I think me personally, I like that kind of character growth in Sanji. I don't think it fixed a quote unquote problem, as you can see my air quotes right there. I think what this author is probably alluding to is that he doesn't like that Sanji is basically been a womanizer. He falls in love with pretty much every pretty woman that comes across in his way, which, you know, can be it is a character flaw, and that's one of Sanji's character flaws. But I think it harkens back to the fact that he is a mama's boy, and he has a lot of respect for women. We recall back when he was fighting on the Wano arc, he nearly lost his life because he refused to hit a woman. He needed Nico Robin to come in and save him from potentially getting killed by this female enemy. So I don't see it as a problem. And frankly, I think the authors are being a bit too harsh on Sanji and on the animators and on Toei and all that, because and I'm just making an assumption. If he sees this video, he can address that or not. That he just basically has a problem that Sanji is a womanizer. And so we'll just go ahead and just read this entirely right here. The way the One Piece anime changed Sanji and Bonnie's dynamic for the worse was terrible to see, but fortunately the anime has already rectified it. And I already reiterated, the One Piece anime seems to be fixing the change in Sanji and Bonnie's dynamic by saying that Sanji didn't know Bonnie was a child, which all things considered isn't the worst way to do that. And again, I'm anime only, so when I saw that, I was like, okay, that works. I already knew that Bonnie was a child before the Egghead Island arc, but because they alluded to it in some episodes when they were on the archipelago, when you're meeting the worst generation for the first time. So most of us probably already knew that, but I like the way they address it here in the anime itself. And he goes on the author goes on to further say that level of course correction can already be seen in episode 1128. Saw Sanji rescue Bonnie from some of the Marines, and just like in the manga, Sanji didn't act lovey-dovey around Bonnie, instead treating her more like a sister than anything, which again I mentioned before. Once he finds out the truth about Bonnie, his entire attitude changes, because hey, he don't want to be known as he don't want to become a wood chipper client, you know what I'm saying? He wants to keep his stuff only with of age women. So again, I don't see that as a problem or anything like that. I think this author is probably searching for an issue where there isn't any. And he goes, not only does Sanji still look bad for flirting with a child, but it's still symptomatic of the larger issue of the anime always making Sanji look worse than need be. Again, that's a personal issue. I don't think Sanji has been made to look worse. So One Piece will never truly do right by Sanji until it starts consistently giving him the same level of treatment Luffy and Zoro get. And again, I don't see this. Sanji gets a whole lot of love in this anime, in this world, just like with Luffy and just like with Zoro. All the Straw Hats get really good love. All the Straw Hats had their own personal arcs to explain why they have joined this, why they had decided to join Luffy on his adventure to become the king of the pirates. So I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know where this is coming from or anything like that, other than my personal opinion that the author Joshua Fox doesn't like the fact that Sanji is portrayed as a womanizer, and he doesn't like any of that. But again, that's just me. So let's go down to the comments. We do have some comments here. There's only 6 of them, so I'm gonna read right through them. First one is from Shizzle. If it's quote too late, why complain about it? Normally when people complain or criticize, it's because they want to see something changed for the better. By saying it's too late, you're admitting you never actually cared in the first place and were just complaining to complain. I agree with that. To an extent and everything like that. Saying it's too late is kind of strong, because there still could be maybe anywhere from 3 to 4, maybe 5 years of One Piece content remaining. We know we're getting towards the end of the adventure, but there's still some time left. So saying that it's too late is too strong. Now the author Joshua does come back and say that feels like a bit of a leap to say that thinking it's too late to fix something means a person never cared to begin with. I would agree with him on that. You can still care, but again, saying it's too late is a bit of a stretch itself. And then right here, David says, it's not that big of a deal as people make it, but it is a little random as to why they add things like Sanji with heart eyes bringing Stussy tea. Yeah, Stussy's hot. So, okay, we can get on that. It's probably because Bonnie is a child. You guys stated it yourself. He made a mistake right there. He does this to women. Bonnie appears as an adult woman, but in this reading, you said what Vegapunk stated about Bonnie being a child. Sanji won't change, and honestly, I prefer it that way. Me too. I prefer this character flaw. It is an absolute character flaw. It almost led to him losing his life. While it tends to be an annoying trope, it's still a part of Sanji's personality, It doesn't exactly make sense why his personality would suddenly change during the Hagrid arc anyway. Exactly. In fact, after he appeared on the Mako Mako Island with all those dudes who thought they were women, it got worse. If he suddenly changed, it most likely would have been during the 2-year time skip when they went back to Sabaody. But even with this, falls in love with every woman, he still makes up for it in other aspects. Exactly. And of course, as I mentioned, after the 2-year time skip, it got worse because he was around nothing but a bunch of gay dudes, and he didn't want to. And he needed the love, and Oda did that intentionally. That's the other thing about that. Oda did that intentionally. He knows that Sanji is a womanizer, and what's the best way to punish a womanizer? Have him hang out with a whole bunch of gay dudes running around chasing him, and he's like, "Oh, get away from me," and all that. So I thought that was fun. Link Master TM says, since it's a fantasy story, it matters not. Besides, agree with it or not, history has a lot of older men making mistakes of flirting with mature-looking underage persons. It's really more of an honest mistake when they didn't check first. It's more so when they perchance continue pursuit when full well knowing when the P word should be tossed around. Sanji is a chivalrous knight. He hasn't taken advantage of any woman ever. So saying it should condemn him is harsh and misinformation is critical anymore. So learn to forgive. I think that this is probably a foreigner, maybe Japanese, who's talking like this, but I agree with all of that. Sanji has never abused a woman. He will never abuse a woman. So he's got both sides of it. While he is a big womanizer, he also will never abuse women. He has both of them, and it actually makes him a full character. And yeah, I agree. You shouldn't condemn him. It's not too late to fix him if we don't want him fixed. And then right here, Mikkel has probably the best answer. It's a sensitive issue to discuss, but don't turn Sanji into what everyone in the world hates most. Leaves it at that. We don't know which way he's wanting to go, but I'm assuming we don't want him to just turn into what they're getting ready to do to Johnny Storm in the upcoming Fantastic Four, namely make him anodyne and destroy a part of Sanji just so you can make a certain political crowd happy. But those are my thoughts. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think Sanji needs to be fixed? Do you think he's fine as is? Jump down in the comments and let me know. And make sure you do like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that good stuff helps me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolt signing off, and I'll catch you in the next video. You guys take it easy.